This episode of Pink Pixels is brought to you by our partners at Zenni Eyewear.
All right, so for a long time in esports, women have been part of the story as competitors, creators, operators, and executives, right? But what's changing right now isn't just participation, it's ownership. And this is what I'm really excited about this conversation today. What it takes to build and not just compete. Heather Mumm has done both. World champion, first woman inducted into the Esports Hall of Fame, 20-year veteran who understands what elite competition demands and what sustainable infrastructure requires. And because here's the truth, right? Tournaments are more than brackets, awards are more than stages. These are economic engines, and they create visibility and credibility and opportunity for women and marginalized genders like ours. And at the Gamehers, we're working with Radiant to produce the Power Play Winter Cup in collaboration with Riot, not just as a side initiative, but as a true competitive platform designed to elevate and spotlight talent. And so with the Gamers Awards, we're recognizing the women who are shaping this industry across competition, production, publishing, and entrepreneurship. And so today, we're talking about ownership, we're talking about revenue, partnership strategy, burnout, leverage, and how women can build lasting influence in competitive industries. So let's get to it. I would love to, I'm just going to jump in with some questions, Heather. I mean, like I said earlier, for years, women have fought to get invited into tournaments, and now we're producing them. And so you've gone from competing in tournaments to producing and leading organizations. Like, what do you think is the real difference between playing the game and owning the game?
Owning's a lot more stressful. There's so much to oversee and look at and plan. Like, sometimes I'd just rather show up and play the video game. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly been an eye opener for me. And a lot of the reason I created Radiant is because I looked at a lot of the women's events that existed in my day, and I just felt like they're kind of missing the bar here. Like, I feel like we can do more to spotlight these players. I feel like we can do more for behind the scenes to get more women and marginalized genders involved in building these projects too. Obviously, now that I'm on the other side too, I do realize how much money and time and all of that takes to get it right. But that's why we started small. We reached out to groups like Riot Games, groups like Psyonix that we had existing relationships with, and said, let's just try a one-off event. Let's see how it goes. And, you know, we really put our soul into those, and it showed in the viewership, the qualitative feedback from the players and the fans, and we're like, okay, I think we've got a thing here, you know, and we started building, and obviously last year was our busiest year yet. Hosting all these different events with game publishers for their women and marginalized communities. And then it kind of evolved from there, where we realized maybe we're just good at events. Like, it doesn't have to just be a women's event. Like, we've got all these women's behind the scenes. We like to say, like, by women for everyone now. And so, yeah, it's been a whirlwind, hugely stressful in that we just care so deeply, you know, like we're perfectionists. We want to get it right. We want every single player to have an exceptional experience, and we want to set the bar for them, so that when they're going and playing in other events, they're asking for what we were able to provide them and everything. But I love it. That's why I'm here, and I think we're making a difference.
I love that so much. I mean, we're finally, and we've been talking for, I don't even know, like for years.
Yeah, seriously.
to work together, and it's finally here. I feel like from, you know, casual, you know, our community is very casual in terms of gaming, and one of the things that we've worked really hard to do is figure out that way to build participation right? And like what we were talking about earlier, we're producing the Power Play Winter Cup together, and it's, yes, we're inviting teams, amateur teams, but also we're inviting solo players to come and be matched with other players to play together. But leaning on you all to create something and produce something that's credible, a credible competitive tournament. Like, what does it actually take? I mean, you're well, this is why we're working with you all and partnering with you all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, because, and that's something that we've had to perfect over the years, because like to do these events, right, like obviously the Gamehers is bringing this incredible player base, and we talk about casual player base, but like it's the largest amount of people in the game, in any single game. Like that top echelon of players is just a tiny percentage, but there's so many more millions of players that consider them more casual, and they haven't even considered competing on a higher level, because that concept doesn't even like exist to them. They don't see themselves on a broadcast. They're like, that's not possible, I'm just an amateur player. And so I think I'm really excited to open more doors for these casual players and realize like there's a chance in the spotlight for them too. It's just like if you compare it to traditional sports, like even I don't know, let's take Texas for example. Like high school football is so big there. You're not watching the best players. They're not even remotely close to the best players, but you're still excited to watch it. Thousands of people show up to those games because you're watching really passionate players play for something. They're playing for their future. And this is like what's exciting about casual amateur events like this. So I think what we bring to the table here is like when you to produce these events to the level that they deserve, like understanding the game at an incredibly high level. So like our producer was also a former professional Counter-Strike player like myself, so we understood these games on a high level, how to produce the in-game portion of it, what are the stories that you should be looking out for, even the replays, like they matter, you want to give the players the best moments to watch back. You want these players to download this VOD later, stream the VOD, and be like, oh my god, I did that, and they want to share it out with their friends, and then they get excited about playing in the next one. So yeah, I'm really excited about this partnership because you all bring that incredibly large casual player base, and then we get to bring the craft that we know about producing Valorant, and it's going to be a great event.
It's going to be so fun. I mean, speaking of that, one of the things that I've noticed, even just in the small 1v1 me tournaments that we've been doing leading up to this bigger one, I mean, how do you design something that's inclusive but still competitive at a high level, right? Like, yeah. I mean, playing Counter-Strike, Heather, I mean, the toxicity, people talk about it all the time, right? But like, I like to talk smack when I'm, when I'm playing. It's like,
course.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But I had like, one of the things that I found that's so crazy to me is just even watching the 1v1 me's and everybody's like, good luck, have fun. And then they're like playing together in the, like doing some scrims together before the match. And I'm like, what world am I in? And I feel like Radiant tournaments have that same vibe, right? And so like, how do you design something like that on a bigger scale?
Oh gosh, I don't think I've ever been asked that. This is such an interesting question because like you said, like there is some level of trash talk that just exists in esports and sports, and that's okay. Of like some of my like best friends now, I played against them for years and I hated them and I wanted them to lose so bad and I wanted to beat them and outsmart them and everything. But obviously like that trash talk, there's a level of it, like you're going to try not to cross a certain line. But even some newer players can like not want to exist in that yet. Like they literally just want to show up.
They need like wholesome safe.
Yeah, exactly. And so like you have to think about it, and there's going to be different levels of events. Like the game, Game Changers is you have to be a certain rank, Ascendant and higher. Radiant Academy you have to be a certain rank, Platinum and higher, and you can't have more than think it's like 2 main event players per roster or something. And then obviously there's the Game Hers events, the Play Her Winter Cup. So there's all these different like levels that you're giving options to, so you can work your way up, you increase your confidence, and realize like maybe this is for me, but this isn't for you. But I think a lot of it's like meeting the right teammates too, because it's a lot of times about who you play with as well. So like having all these different options of events to play with and trial teammates. And I love that this Winter Cup's going to have a matchmaking opportunity too, because I think that's one of the biggest challenges too, is like, how do I find other people to play with? And so it's a great way to try people out, and maybe if it goes well, maybe they'll register for Radiant Academy, which is like the next, you'll keep going up and up and up levels. So yeah, it's a hard challenge to find the right balance, because there are going to be people that are highly, highly, highly competitive, and there's going to be people that just want to have a great time and make new friends, even friends across on the other side of the server from them. Yeah, you just gotta find that right place for you and those right teammates to play with. Yeah,
that's true, and I think that's one of the things that we're most excited about as well. And just offering. I mean, I know for myself, right? Like I play a lot of MMOs, and so not a lot of competitive esports, but you still have to find groups, right? And it's crazy how many people just don't even want to ask other people to play with them. It's like
I get it. I wanted to get back into WoW, and I'm like, oh god, I'm rusty. I want to raid, but I don't want people to yell at me.
Oh my gosh, girl. Okay, wait. One of my buddies plays classic WoW and hardcore, and so if you're looking to play, I mean, let's set up sometime. I'm down.
So yeah.
Totally down.
Classic WoW is the hardcore mode. That's stressful. Oh my gosh, you put all of that in, and it's just gone.
It seems fun though. It seems
does.
like back to the 20 years ago play style that
exactly.
The harder MMOs.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, we've been super lucky to have Riot's one of our investors as a company, as well as with this particular tournament. Having this collaboration with Riot and in Game Changers is a huge deal for us. And you've been working with them and creating these opportunities, which is incredible. You've been doing this for a while now. And so, I mean, what would you say like a strong partnership with a publisher like Riot actually looks like?
Yeah, I mean, first off, you have to build a lot of trust with them. I think that's important, especially like we're broadcasting on their channels, we're using their social channels. You have to make sure that it still feels like it's coming from the same voice, essentially, which is the Valorant esports brand, the Valorant North America brand. So obviously building a lot of trust with them, understanding what we're capable of. There's really high quality standard that you want to meet when you work with a game publisher. But by doing that, it also gets that like seal of approval too. Like anytime there's something with a publisher and they have officially supported it or something, like that's going to bring more players as well. So when we can build those relationships, whether the Game Hers or Radiant, like that almost like solidifies the event of like, these are the ones that I want to play in, because they have a little more weight. It means a little more for your resume. It means a little more for the fans that are watching it. But yeah, it's obviously a big task to take on, and like I said, we started small with Riot. We did one Game Changers event many years ago. It was the most watched one ever at the time, which we were really proud of because we put a lot of like content and co-streamer resources into it, especially when co-streaming wasn't that big of a thing just yet. And it paid off. Now we get to run their whole North American circuit in collaboration with them. We're very proud to do that. It's a lot of fun.
That's amazing. amazing. I mean, what makes Riot different in how they approach women's competitive ecosystems? Like,
Oh gosh, yeah. I
I
mean,
feel like they do something kind of like have like a little bit of a special sauce, right? Like,
I mean, they do, right? I mean, first off, the game itself is incredibly inclusive. I never thought, especially as like a Counter-Strike player, I didn't think I'd care about characters or
right?
anything. But that has changed now. I love the IP. It feels
The
very
skins,
relatable. The skins, all that. Like it's all great. Um, and there's just been a lot of community around this game since the beginning. Um, and Riot is really like kind of the gold standard in terms of these inclusive events. Every other game publisher I talk to, they're like, we want to do the game changers thing in our game. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. It's awesome. So, they invested in it from the start. They, the prize pools were sizable. The regions were highly inclusive. There's something all across the world. Um, they've worked with communities too, like Gallerance was one of the first one. They brought Gallerance. Gallerance was a self-funded, founded community that partnered with Riot later on when the game started taking off. And then we've been fortunate to do some like really amazing events. So in addition to Game Changers existing, and they're having a big global finals at the end of the year where they put all the bells and whistles into the LAN event. We've also done things in Paris and Seoul called the Game Changers Collective, where we're bringing these players together. We brought an Olympian, Yeji Kim, to the Seoul event to speak with the Game Changers competitors, and they really resonated with her story. We've done like vision boarding sessions and everything, and then from that we've created the Game Changers Collective Discord in partnership with Riot, which is it's the first like Riot official Discord for Game Changers. It has a global reach and anyone can join. And if you want to find information about how to compete in Game Changers in different regions, you can drop in there. And so seeing this like true, global commitment to supporting women, I think has been incredible. There's one stat that I found deep in an article many years ago that one of the partnerships leads for Riot said nearly 40% of their player base are women. And so I've hung on to that for many years. I truly believe that when I go to the events and I see the audience there too. Yeah, I think they're just doing such wonderful things for the community and building like one of the truly most inclusive esports in the world.
That's such a great point, Heather, because I've been to a lot of gaming events in general, and the number of women in attendance has been low, much lower, right? And it's crazy to me because half of the global player, video game player base is women, and it's disheartening to see how little of a percentage a lot of game developers and games don't take that into account, right? Like where it almost doesn't feel like it's for us, or we're taken into account. And so that is something that I'm finding too with working with Riot on this small tournament space, is that the amount of support and wanting to talk to us about it, and the support they want to offer is amazing. And so I
actually I saw on Reddit this morning from I guess I won't say the game. I don't think it really matters, but it applies to any game. There's a woman that posted saying, I'm going to the upcoming LAN. I'm going by myself. Am I going to be okay? And that made me like so sad because I've been to that event that she's going to, and she's going to be great. Everyone's wonderful there. Most of the events that I go to, online can be a different, one thing, but like when you go to these events, everyone's like pretty welcoming and inclusive, or they just don't care. No one talks to you, and that's fine too. Like they just let you do your thing. And it broke my heart. And we've done this at a few different events. Like we've tried to have like a women's focus like booth or place that they can network or hang out or watch the games together, almost like a lounge type of thing. And so like I'd love to see those continually like offered at events, because there are women that are fans, and they just a lot of times what you see at the events doesn't represent what the actual player base is, because there is that intimidation factor of like, if I show up by myself, what am I going to do? Who am I going to talk to?
Yeah.
Am I going to be made fun of? Blah, blah, blah.
Well, also, I mean, sadly, there's a safety issue involved in that, right? Because, I mean, even, I think it was, heck, I mean, I probably shouldn't say what events, but, there are complaints about getting roofied or beaten up, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, it is something as a woman traveling solo, and you and I both travel solo a lot. Something that we think about, and having events that provide that kind of safe space, I think, is super important for us.
Definitely.
I'm going to pivot a little bit, because I want to talk about celebrating women in this space, because I feel like that's a huge deal. And I'm once again just super excited that this year in 2026, the Gamers Awards is going to be produced by Radiant, and the Radiant team. I'm so excited.
It feels unreal. I fed it to them, and I'm like, oh, I want to get my hands on this. I love it so much. I can't wait.
It's gonna be amazing. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of award shows in esports. They're great because they're creating visibility around something that we're like so passionate about. But why do you think it matters? I mean, I can answer this all day, but like, why do you think it matters so much for women and marginalized genders to have their own like recognition platform?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and this is where it's like, if you look at, I guess, the major award shows in esports, there's a lack of women, but it's not always anyone's fault necessarily. Like, the men that are the best in the game deserve to be recognized. They are rock stars. I look up to them. They're my heroes. I want to be like them. And so like, the problem is we just don't have enough women in the industry either. And so like, when you look at like player of the year or best clutch of the year, like a lot of these competitive ones are going to be like dominated by men, and again, that's okay. Like, we're starting with like growing the pool of women that even exist in this ecosystem, work, compete, create content, all of that. And again, it's hard to be the best player in the world, regardless of your gender. It's really, really difficult.
Yes.
And so like, as we grow this base of players, there's going to be more women, and to get inspired, to want to be at the top, a lot of the times it takes seeing someone like you, feeling like you're already represented, feeling like there is a place for you. So like, doing events like the Gamers Awards builds representation. It celebrates the pioneers. It celebrates the grinders that didn't have anyone else to look up to, and they had to do it themselves and pave their own way, which is very difficult to do. And it's going to inspire more women to do what they do. Women are very competitive too, especially when I see like, even when I see another woman winning a world championship or whatever, like I not only can I see myself like as her, and I'm like, oh, I'm happy for you. I want to beat you too.
Yeah.
I want to be in that position. I deserve that gold medal. And so it gets you excited, it gets you pumped up, like, because you feel like, okay, it's relatable now. I can do it. And
Yeah.
so I always love this award. I think it recognizes a lot of the women that have been grinding from the beginning, and they really, really deserve this. And then it jumpstarts their careers too. Like I see a lot of the award winners, like, you think they're at the top now, just wait till you see after they win award, because they're like, wow, I want more. I got my trophy rack here. It's like,
I
after I
love
got my
it.
first one, it's like, I got to fill this thing up.
You
I got
need
to keep
more.
grinding harder. So yeah.
I love that so much. I mean, I was in Riyadh for the World Champions for ML Baby. And I just remember the female Filipino team winning that, and I was there, watching with Team Vitality, and they were, and I was like, oh, and I'm Filipino, and I was like, oh my gosh, like there was like there's just like this feeling of excitement for Filipino women, and then also just like. I was just so much pride that they won. I was like, damn, like that's some serious stuff. And you're right. Like, I was like, oh man, I wish that when I was younger, I was playing,
Yep.
playing as well. And I was like, I wonder, yeah, definitely that feeling of I'm seeing somebody like me
Yeah.
being on that stage and winning and competing, right? And that just is inspiring to be able to go out and do it myself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Exactly.
As you were building the business, and we were talking a little bit earlier, like, oh my gosh, there's a lot more involved to running a business than playing the game. But one of the things that I think you and Jen did just so well, incredibly well, is that, like, well, if there isn't a table, I'm just gonna build it, right? and really, when the doors didn't open, you built your own business instead. And so, one thing that that inspires me is just seeing women like you all just go for it. And I think that a lot of the people in our audience, in our community, would just want to learn from that. And like, what made you decide to just go for it? And, what did you, like, I know you said you started small, but like the moment that you knew, like, you know what, we're just gonna do this thing.
Yeah. I mean, it started as, I guess the reality is, so I was working with Dignitas, the esports team at the time, and they were supporting a women's Valorant team, and I competed with them. I love them. They're some of my best friends. But when you have a team, you can't also like really run your own events. It gets into a little bit of a conflict of interest and everything. And there's a lot of thought of like, as this team eventually moved on to another organization, and we're like, okay, do we get a new roster? But thinking about like, okay, we could help 5 women, or we can help thousands of women if we're the ones creating those events and operating those events. And again, there was kind of an up and coming presence in Valorant at the time, kind of up and coming for women's Rocket League at the time as well. But we just thought there was a lot of room to add to that. There was still a place in the space for us, and we tried out a few things. The players loved it. We broke participation records, viewership records, everything, and yeah, it just kind of clicked of like, if we can do this in 1 or 2 games, like why couldn't we do this in multiple games? And between like the roster of staff that we built, individually, like, we could run an entire tournament kind of on our own between admin, social, content, production, um, and yeah, the pieces just kind of kind of lined up, and it became a real thing. And then we started, getting the attention of folks at Activision Blizzard. They said, "Hey, we're starting up this new thing called Calling All Heroes," and we did a trial with them, and it went really well. We got involved with Fortnite and Rainbow Six Siege, and some of those groups were now coming to us instead of us having to chase them. And so I think that's where, like, okay, I think this is gonna work out.
I think we can quit our day jobs and
Yeah,
move it.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Yeah, obviously at the start you're balancing many other projects
Yes.
and jobs and everything at the time.
What do you think? All right, here's the question. I think when I first started in the industry, and people always ask me, like, what do you think about women leagues and women only leagues, right? And is the future of women's esports like dependent on integrating into like building their own parallel ecosystem, or integration into an existing league? And there's been so much like back and forth on that, and even in my head, right? And like well, on one hand it'd be really good, but then on the other hand, like, what are your thoughts? I want to hear your thoughts on it, because
Allie,
I'm
yes,
so
very.
torn.
I mean, because I don't think there is a right answer. I don't think we know
Yeah.
enough yet, and so, and I've always said, many years, like for many years, is like we should not have these exist eventually. And I always correct people, because you go on Reddit and people say we don't need these, women can play in the co-ed events, which is absolutely correct.
Yes.
But again, women aren't playing in them. They are, even though they can, they aren't.
Yeah.
And that's because there's just a smaller pool of players. They don't really stand out as much. They don't want to make themselves known. And it can be very intimidating. So there's no problem to start with these women's events that get more women to play. They build more representation, and then they'll keep going up the ranks, and hopefully they'll play in maybe some of the co-ed open events, and maybe they'll eventually play in the big leagues on the main teams. But again, being a pro player is so difficult. Like, a fraction of a percent of the men that play the game are pro gamers. So if you take a pool of a much smaller pool of players and you try to find a fraction of percent of pros, you're gonna struggle. So we got to build that player base. I've always said, like, okay, eventually there'll be true integration, and we don't need women's leagues. I don't know if I believe that yet anymore. Like what's the problem if they do exist? Like
Yeah.
Everyone has a different reason to play games. Not everyone's trying to be at the top, and other people are. And it's like, I think competing in esports is the best thing ever. So like, I want to get more people to want to compete, but like, are you trying to quit school and do this 100% full time? Not everyone, and that's okay. But I think there's no problem with like multiple different ecosystems and pathways existing. Do I want to see more women play in co-ed? Absolutely. I hope that's the path. I hope there is less need for the women's leagues in the future. But at the end of the day, there's going to be, just like in real life, there's women's clubs and things that exist, and I think there's no problem that they exist. But I do want women to feel like they have a space in like the co-ed events too eventually.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, even for the Power Play Winter Cup event, that is co-ed, right? We just want women leaders. We just want women to lead and captain the games. And at the end of the day, I feel like that's truly inclusive. And I'm with you. I've been at first I was like, hell no, women, women can play and compete at that level. And then I realized that, building up the ecosystem to where you have amateurs that feel safe, that have a safe space to learn and play without feeling like, oh my gosh, Heather, I was in this room full of girls, high school girls, and we're on this panel, and one of the girls asked this question, and it really made me tear up. But they asked if the woman on the stage, if they ever wanted to quit playing because of the haters. And it was like, I just felt like, I was so just enamored with the fact that she felt safe enough in a room full of 500 other girls, right? That she felt safe enough to be able to ask that question. And two, it fucking pissed me off so bad that she had to ask that question, that she even felt the need to ask that question, right? And so, it was heartbreaking. Those are the kinds of stories that just make me want to do more.
Yeah. And that's why I think we Radiant the Gamers, we have a very important place, because I empathize with the game publishers. I do think it's a hard problem to solve. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I don't want to say you can't ban and mute everyone, because it's not an everyone thing. It's it's the minority of people, I think, are toxic, but they really it feels like the vocal.
They're the loudest.
They're the loudest. They're loudest. So it feels like a lot. I don't know how you challenge. I don't know how you fix it, just because it's not just a Valorant thing, a Counter-Strike thing. It's a world problem.
It's a world problem.
It's a world problem, and people just need to stop being crappy to other people. I don't know. I can't fathom it. I don't know anyone in my real life circle that goes online and is just incredibly toxic. I just can't fathom where those type of people come from, or how they, how they think this is okay. But yeah, it's a world problem, and so. I don't know how to change the world yet. I've been working on it, but we can build our little pockets of spaces that people can have a network that can make them feel, I don't know. I don't always love the word safe space, but it is kind of like that. They're cozy group, and so if we can build more cozy groups to help shield yourself from the real world, that's why I love gaming.
Heather, I'm all about building a bubble around myself and where I am, and then hopefully if everybody enjoys their own, and builds their own bubbles, eventually the bubbles will interconnect, right?
Exactly.
And then we'll have a bigger one. And so oh my gosh, it's a tough ask. For people to be human, unfortunately. And, it's one of those things that hopefully the more we can show that, the more people will gravitate towards that as well. And then hopefully it'll just be the norm, right? Okay. I'm the chief revenue officer, and all I talk about in my daily life and work is, money and making the business scale and growing the business. And I, being an entrepreneur as well, I want to kind of touch on this subject with you, because I mean, monetization in esports and the video game industry, I feel, has been a question for a while. Just even organizations and teams and, across the board in every level of the ecosystem. What do you think what revenue models do you think actually work in competitive women's gaming?
Whew, it's It's a good question. I think I'm still kind of trying to figure it out, but I mean, what I can say is that I mean, it's kind of a marketing business, right? Like media rights aren't a thing anymore in esports. They used to be, and it was incredible. It's not a thing. These are essentially like, marketing tools for the game and for brands. And what I can say about these women's events, um, if you show as a brand, if you show that you're committed to a community and you believe in them, they're going to give back to you tenfold. And that's what I love about this community. Like the amount of times that we've partnered with a brand, let's say Be Quiet and Noble Chairs and Chipotle and HyperX and Pura Vida. Like when I send the players a prize or something that they won as part of an event, we just say like a little note of like this is from Pura Vida or something. We can't necessarily force players to post or anything, but they always do. They always go and thank the brand. They thank you for the event. They go on Twitch chat and thank the brand. Like they get invested. And then a couple weeks later, like Chipotle, like, wow, I hadn't had Chipotle and they gave me the free code for competing, and I've gotten Chipotle for lunch 4 days in a row. Like that. That's what I love to see, and that's why I want brands to understand about this community in particular. Like they are so grateful to be recognized, because it's not always going to be the highest viewership, but it's going to be the most engaged viewership, and I think that's really important. And it's hard to show that, to brands, but I love when I can, go to an event and introduce them to our players and our fans, and they can hear firsthand how much that brand support meant to them. That's the biggest monetary driver, I think, for us.
That's so true. Our community as well, it's been incredible seeing the engagement of, I mean, just across the board, and just looking at different industries, right? And it's like, you're right, Heather, like our community also, they see a brand that we trust. They trust that brand. They want to trust that brand as well. And it's important to them to buy, like when they buy from a brand, they want to feel like that brand is trusted. And so I agree, like them supporting authentically is a big deal. And, that word gets thrown around so much, but it's so true. Like, oh, that brand doesn't care or doesn't, give a crap, or, oh, they hire Chinese children, or, what I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not going to buy from them, but, but give them something that, that's actually a brand that supports, women in the space. It's really gratifying to see, that as well.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest monetization myth in esports? I mean, you've been in it for a long time.
Gosh, that's a good question. Okay, I think I mean, I think the fans think like just because an event or a streamer has a lot of viewers, like people are just knocking at their door to throw them money and everything. Which is not always the case. It's like just because the audience is there doesn't mean the money will for sure come. Like you have to show that there's like a real value to, like what are the brands getting back from this. And then I'll also add too, I think especially from the player's perspective, is that the events, it's interesting because I don't know. You obviously want to run like the best competitive event in the world. You want to give the players the perfect format, perfect scheduling, everything as much rest and everything as humanly possible. Um, but at the end of the day, it's a business too, and like what the fans want and what the players want and what the brands want don't always match. And so, and it pains me as a former player, but I have to, I had to start to understand this part of like I'm not the most important piece here as the player. Um, Obviously that brings in a lot of the audience too, but like we have to cater our schedule and format and things to the audience's need and not necessarily the players. And we're starting to see that in sports too, of like, again, I'm going to reference the NFL as a big football fan. Like the NFL has now gone international and the players have to go play in Germany, Brazil, London, um, for a Sunday game, and then they have to fly back and play at their home city on a Thursday game, and the schedule sucks. And especially in sports, your body's getting beat up, but like that, the the way the NFL is going to expand is by going international, possibly. So, it's again, I think it's not always about the players. I think trying to accommodate for them as best as possible is important because they are the stars of the show and we want them to be happy. But yeah, it's a lot of balance, and all of that balance helps drive more money.
That's so interesting. I've been to a couple of games in Tottenham, or NFL games in Tottenham, and the teams that have been there all week, and like not and had time to fix their jet lag, definitely have a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
And I could see where it's tough, even just for us from a casual perspective. We're running the Power Play tournament on NA, and we have a lot of global, presence, and so we've got players in Brazil who are like, well, can we play in Lato, and so they have to make different character or different accounts to be able to play, but it's interesting that whole piece, and also how it ties into monetization for sure, because having to balance that, it's tough as a business, right? And we've had opportunities to work with brands that we've had to say no to because it just wasn't a good match for our community, right? Yeah. And I think that that kind of brings us to the next question, which is like, where do you think brands get it wrong when they approach women gamers?
Yeah, I guess there's the traditional stereotype of, and I feel like this gets discussed on social every couple months, of like girls just want pink things, in products or something, which isn't always the case, or on the other side of like gamer girls aren't feminine, they don't care about that stuff. And we were, I think, one of the first, maybe the first like esports organization to work with a cosmetics brand. We worked with NYX Cosmetics. They were fantastic, and I think it really opened their eyes of like, wow, like a lot of the women gamers do care about makeup. They care about how they look. One of my favorite players, Emily, she's like, she always liked to say, look good, feel good, play good. And so,
I love that.
showing these more, I guess, feminine brands that like there's a space for them in gaming too, and it doesn't just have to be, cosplay. It's just understanding that there's a massive diversity. Like, if we're talking about diversity, it's not just like women and men. It's like within the pool of women and marginalized genders, there's a ton of different communities and cultures and products that we all like or dislike or everything. So, finding the right place to fit in, I think, is important. And then also like understanding too, I don't know, I'm gonna throw out like Aussie Antics, for example. He's a Fortnite, one of the top Fortnite streamers, if not the top, that we work with. he's actually got a really strong women audience. And I think a lot of people don't realize that of like to reach women, you don't always have to just go through other women too.
Right.
So we've worked with him to watch party our women's Fortnite's events. And it has inspired a ton of other women to play because they saw it through him. So yeah.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it too. I mean, if we're thinking about inclusivity as infrastructure, right? I mean, that makes all the sense in the world. So no, thank you so much. I like this. We could talk all day. I could talk
We
to you
could.
all day, and I'm getting so much great insight. And so thank you so much. I hope our audience is as well. But we're kind of wrapping up our time together, and so I want to do like some quick rapid fire,
Sure.
And then probably one or two last questions, and we can close it out. I'm just gonna kind of go through this. What do you think is the most underrated skill in this industry?
Replay operator. And I say that because replays are a lot of things that like get clipped and put on social later. And as someone that does game observing too, if you miss something, like I want to see what happened. But I say that because there's a lot of replay operators that don't know the game, and knowing the game is so important. And this is a skill you can learn at home. And then I do know a handful of replay operators that have taken that skill and then now work for the NBA, they work for the MLB, they work for the NFL, they work for they do replays for live rocket ships and NASA and everything that go off. So like it's a skill that you can transfer to other positions too.
That's awesome. Okay, well, one thing women underprice.
Ooh. Underprice. Oh gosh, that's a good one. I'm trying to answer this rapidly. I mean, I guess how hard you have to grind to be really good at this game. Like it takes a lot. The top women's players in the world commit their entire lives to it, and so if you want to be a top gamer, you have to commit a lot. And if you don't want to commit that, that's okay. There's still a place for you. Other places, other places in the industry.
I love that. What's the smartest bet you've made?
Oh my gosh, it's gonna sound so cheesy, but betting on myself, because obviously told I don't belong. I was told for many years that there's not careers in gaming. I'm a very much like to march to the beat of my own drum kind of person, and yeah, I had to work some other jobs just to get money on the side, but like I was always like I was like, I'm gonna make this work. It took me many, many, many years, but I made it work.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love that answer. The room you're still trying to get into.
It's so funny. Content creation. I think that I want to show the behind the scenes of esports. I want to build a massive audience, not because I want clout or social following, but I'm like, I know that I can show people all these really cool things that we do and why I work in the best place in the world. And so like I'm trying to like create content with the very little time I have. So I'm trying to be a content creator too.
Ooh. That's a tough one.
Very tough.
And you know what? I almost feel like that's one of the skills in this industry, like that everybody needs to know how to do.
You should. I got preached to this weekend about need to learn how to edit and create content because that opens so many other doors. It's so overwhelming, but I'm trying.
It's a lot.
I tried the CapCut software though. I'll shout them out. It's awesome.
It's awesome and easy, right?
Yeah.
Let me just throw some video together.
Yeah,
just,
exactly. It's great.
That looks good. Looks good.
Yep.
Oh no, I'm right with you. I have to constantly do content as well for even just LinkedIn or my job or you know what I mean, or some of the things that we're doing, and it's tough to make time to do that in addition to everything else. But that makes a lot of sense. Okay. One thing that the industry still hasn't figured out.
Whew. I mean, how to make money in esports. It's hard. It comes and it goes. There was VC money that flew around too for many years, but making this sustainable, I don't think anyone's figured it out yet. Everyone's trying, everyone's
Yeah,
tweaking, trying to make it work.
trying to create businesses that are businesses, right?
Yeah,
That make money.
yeah,
No,
exactly,
I'm
exactly.
with you. It's something that I think every, as an entrepreneur, it's something that that keeps you up at night, and then also just this industry is tough
Yeah.
in that sense. What do you? So thinking about the kind of the legacy and future vision of the industry, what does a fully realized woman-led esports ecosystem look like in 10 years? Just if you had if you had a crystal ball, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
I mean the crystal ball vision, I keep referencing sports, but I think sports are awesome, and they took 100 years or thousands of years
Yes.
to get it right, I guess.
Yeah.
But if you look at women's sports, obviously, like it's really like taken off in the last couple of years, because they've invested in their stars, they've invested in more storytelling, um, and again, we're not. Um, there's going to be the leagues that are the best of the best players, and I hope that there's women in those. I think in 10 years, I think there will be. But if we still want to believe that there's a need for collegiate, high school, women's events, and those women's events have different levels as well, like we have to, and I think we will invest in storytelling and why you should care about this. Just because you're not watching the true absolute best individual players in the world doesn't mean you're not watching something incredibly exciting, inspiring, and everything else. So I think storytelling is going to be a big piece, of esports in general. That's what's going to keep people around.
I think you're right, and also, I mean, if we're taking it to kind of the next level, right? It's showcasing the woman out there, and
Hmm.
marginalized genders
Hmm.
out there who are doing the thing, right? That you're
Hmm.
passionate about, and seeing those role models as well. But if a 19-year-old girl who's watching this and in the communities wants to build her own esports or business in the industry one day, what's your advice?
Um, First off, create something that doesn't exist. Plenty of people, thousands of people, I don't know how to put a number on it, have done that over the course of esports. ESL, the one of the biggest organizers in the world, was just started by, group of people that liked esports and wanted to start teams, and then they wanted to start events. Obviously, all these things take money, money eventually, but like you can still put together a team. Like there's no reason you couldn't contact one of the rosters playing in the Game Changers kickoff tournament. Hey, can I be your manager? I could create some, social channel for you guys, post about you guys, and then just like what I did with my women's team that eventually got picked up by Dignitas, like we were just a group of friends playing video games, and when we went to LAN tournaments, we went to Michael's and we got our jerseys and we ironed on our jerseys, and that made us look official, and we made our own decks to present to different brands and everything, and we got the attention of a bigger organization. And so like yeah, try to find your thing, try to build your thing. Learn vmix, learn how to observe, learn how to cast. These are all things that you can do while you're from your home base with a lot of free software and everything, and build your resume. um, go to an event, go to the different booths, meet people. They're gonna eventually need a person that does a thing, and if you're that person that does that thing, they'll find you, you know. So yeah, don't be afraid to start your own thing, because again, there's so much like untapped, I guess, potential, you could say. Like I said, with my content creation, like I'm very fortunate to go to all these events, and I think there's a niche of like what happens behind the scenes of events. But I've seen it even on my TikTok feed now. A lot of people are like, I went to VCT Game Changers this weekend, and here's what happened. I went to the booth and got the Chilean food. I got free boba. I went to the Cloud9 booth and got Valentine's Day cards. I went to the G2 booth and got Valen cookies. You know, like, and people are like, oh my god, I didn't know all this stuff happens at these events. You know, like that's what the comments like. You're fortunate to go to this event. Share it off with the world. You know, so.
I love that, and I also do the thing. Do the thing that you're most excited about, and somebody will find you. And I do agree with you. I think that there's room, and there's a lot of opportunity that's still out there in the industry we're in, and how it's growing. So amazing. Well, Heather, thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure to speak with you, and thank you for taking the time on, and making time for me. I think you just came back from Japan. I also just came back from Japan, but I missed you like a week. I know. We totally could have hung out. Just as an aside, I went to just randomly the Samurai and Ninja Museum. It's so random.
That's so cool.
But it was so cool. Next time you go,
so cool.
You have to go. It's
I will go.
They showed you how to throw ninja stars.
It's awesome. Oh my god. That's so cool. I love Japan. I think about it every day.
It's so cool. Well, all right. So, what I'm gonna close with where people can support Radiant and the gamers in our collaboration is to watch the Power Play Valorant tournament on February 25th. And make sure to watch it on Twitch, on the Gamers Twitch channel. What are you building next, Heather? And share with us what's coming up for Radiant.
We've got some things cooking. We've also got the Game Changers kickoff tournament. So that's this coming weekend, and the following weekend we'll have our live broadcast. So see what it's like if you've played in Power Play Winter Cup and you're like, okay, I'm ready for the next level. Take a look at that.
Love it.
We've got that coming up. We were doing some cool things. Okay, we're even working with like the NBA on the NBA 2K League, which is cool. We're doing things with Riot and the Game Changers Collective Discord. I'll be personally down in Santiago for the Valorant Masters, so if anyone will be there, let me know. I'd love to meet you. But yeah, we'll just keep grinding away and trying to figure out how to make esports work.
That's amazing. And Heather, I can't stress enough how excited the Gamers is to be working with you and the team. It's been such an amazing ride so far, and just really looking forward to 2026 and working with you all. So thank you again so much.
Can't wait. Thank you, Allie.
Bye.
Bye.